Nothing in this world is permanent, and all of us can make mistakes. Game studios that are famous for their masterpieces sometimes create objectively bad products. Brilliant directors who once changed the entire film industry with their work eventually make frankly bad projects. The best tech companies, brilliant musicians, artists. Everyone makes mistakes. No one can always do everything perfectly, except Rockstar. The company, which employs thousands of people, works on projects worth hundreds of millions, and has a lot of risk to release an average or financially failed game, has never made a mistake. And it's not because Rockstar is some kind of genius or is talented, and not because they can spend years perfecting a game. We know of projects that turned out to be very bad even after 10 years of development. In fact, everything is very simple. Rockstar simply do something that others cannot repeat for some reason, although they try. But what are they missing? What is the secret sauce of Rockstar Games that no other company can replicate, even with the same ingredients? As the beginning of the second millennium, Rockstar set the vector for the development of the gaming industry by releasing the revolutionary GTA 3 game. It was a very big and risky project for that time when the gaming industry was just moving into the 3D world. The competition was too strong. Shooters, racing, third-person action, legendary franchises were born then, adding new mechanics and innovations to their genres, but Rockstar went further, and they gave the player everything at once. Having realized the coolness of their concept in the first two GTAs, they transferred it to 3D, literally allowing the player to do anything in a real open world. Although this game could become a cult game only due to its permissiveness for the player, the game also had good graphics and story for that time. And it's even shocking, considering that in the same year, they managed to release 2 more games and port Max Payne to PlayStation 2 and Xbox. It's pretty amazing to hear that Rockstar used to be able to release several games a year, isn't it? GTA 3 is one of the biggest games that influenced the gaming industry, and it was also very successful financially. Of course, after that, the continuation of the franchise was inevitable. But it is at this point that we can see the first difference between Rockstar and any other game studio. Let's take Ubisoft for an example, and let's try to look at their path from a different angle. You're going to be shocked right now that people born on January 1st can't say, "My birthday was last year." And you're also going to be shocked that Ubisoft has made real masterpieces. Even before it became an assembly line woke bankrupt, this company once knew how to make games. Like Rockstar, they set new standards in various genres. The first Far Cry was a breakthrough in terms of graphics, certainly not without Crytek's influence, and the first and second Assassin's Creed made incredible contributions to story-driven games, stealth and parkour, and free movement mechanics. The same can be said for the first Call of Duty, which added a cinematic style that hadn't been seen in shooters before. The first Battlefield set a new trend in online gaming, offering 64 players on one map back in 2002, which was insane for the time. All these companies and their franchises became the largest in the gaming industry for a reason. They made breakthrough games and, just like Rockstar, after gaining box office success, decided to extend their franchises, which is certainly the right decision. But unlike all the other companies that created good games and intended to continue them, Rockstar went the other way.
We produce a reasonably small number a year, between about 8 and 10, of games that we make with a lot of love and care. We want to play. We've got a quite specific gameplay objective and desire to make things that really don't fit into existing genres, but kind of move the barriers on the kind of games people are playing onto another level.
The largest game studios of the time were simply repeating or slightly improving what had already worked and appealed to the audience, which is probably quite right from a business perspective. But unlike everyone else, Rockstar had a different strategy, a more risky one: experiments. The Grand Theft Auto series was constantly experimenting and trying to be revolutionary in some aspects. The first 2 GTAs introduced an open world and freedom of action and made the player a criminal rather than a traditional hero. GTA 3 was the first 3D game in the series with a living city and had a movie plot. Vice City was able to create an atmosphere of a certain era unprecedented in the gaming industry. San Andreas introduced RPG elements and character customization. GTA 4 revolutionized game physics. In each game, the franchise has raised the bar of the genre by experimenting with mechanics, plot, and technology. And all of this applies not only to GTA. Max Payne introduced the bullet time effect, which later became a classic in this genre. Bully began to raise quite important social issues, which had never been done before in the gaming industry. The Red Dead series had made significant progress in the interaction between the player and the open world, which now had dynamic events, and each NPC felt really real, not just a model. And how can we not mention LA Noire and motion scan face capture technology? The game literally allowed you to read NPC emotions. Even now there is no game that has come close to such facial animation. Even in table tennis, released in 2006, we got unprecedented unprecedented character physics. Just look at the way the hair is animated. And this game is 18 years old. And while every Rockstar game was an experiment, other studios just repeated what worked. For a while, it was successful, but of course, players had to get tired of it at some point. Rockstar has never conformed to any norms or expectations. In fact, they don't even consider themselves a gaming company, but rather a cultural brand.
We feel very excited and very confident that we're going to be able to absolutely push the limits of what can be created and the experiences that we can immerse our audience in.
In 1999, Sam Houser founded a small company called Rockstar within the Take-Two holding company. He modeled The Division, which he calls a label, after Def Jam Records, the hip-hop label that launched the careers of Run DMC and the Beastie Boys. He wanted the Rockstar brand to be associated with a certain coolness among consumers. Okay, so now we understand that thanks to experiments, Rockstar was able to move much faster technologically and in creating game worlds than any other developer. But what is an experiment? In simple terms, it is a test of hypothesis and theories. In the 2000s, the Hauser brothers could not be sure that satire that sometimes crosses the line, or a permissive open world where we can literally be a psychopathic maniac grinding people in a food processor could become so financially successful. In other words, experiments are risks. That's why we see all kind of sports simulators not changing at all, because any changes are risky, and these changes will not work. A bunch of retards who buy the same FIFA or Call of Duty every year will stop doing so. In addition, Rockstar Games have always been subject to scandals. They were constantly banned in many countries, and they were always trying to cancel them for what they were. But with all the problems with bans that Rockstar Games have faced, as well as constant risky experiments that might not be liked by the audience and critics, Rockstar has somehow became the most financially successful in the entire entertainment industry. You see, in our capitalist world, it's not enough to make a good product to earn big money. It's not even enough to make a masterpiece product, as this channel proves. But in any industry, we have examples when, over time, a project became a masterpiece, but it failed financially. You all know movies like The Shawshank Redemption, the original Blade Runner, and Fight Club. These movies are now considered a cult and are on the list of the best movies of all time. But each of these projects was a box office failure. None of them even broke even. Similarly, in the gaming industry, we have Spec Ops, the first Alan Wake, Titanfall 2, Dishonored 2, and De X. All of these games are very popular with the audience, are really good, and in many ways, were even revolutionary, but they also buried their franchises due to the weak sales that did not satisfy the publishers at all. And this is normal. In an era of high competition and hard to predict audience reactions, it's easy to fail. This is especially true for experimenters whose games have always been banned. And here we come to where Rockstar's next secret ingredient is, thanks to which they have become one of the most expensive game studios, second only to Roblox. It is a unique approach to selling the game. First of all, Rockstar Games considers each of its products a bestseller even before it is released. The Rockstar team believes that each of their next game will make a lot of money, and they approach it that way. In this respect, they never put second best. According to a former Rockstar developer, internally, they categorize competitors' products as second-tier games, but at the same time treat them as if they were all GTAs. Thus, the bar is raised for everyone. This creates equality for the main brand and a mark of quality that boosts the sales and success of each franchise. But belief alone is not enough. You need concrete actions to make everyone want to buy your product. And now, we need to remember the year 2008.
Down 1.7% here, lost.
Essentially down by now down 20
And completely wiped
out at the same time.
since the crash.
That year, Steve Jobs presented the first MacBook Air. Back then, he offered people who had lost their jobs and their savings during the crisis a new gadget that cost $3,000. But the presentation was incredible. It may seem that by taking his new device out of an ordinary envelope, he emphasized its thinness. However, in fact, he created a vivid and memorable image that emphasized the uniqueness of his product without overwhelming the audience with details. This strategy of a simple and strong image was also used by Rockstar, who realized that a marketing campaign does not need to be overloaded, as other studios do with dozens of similar gameplay trailers that simply scream, "Buy this, asshole, see how much shit you can do in this game." At the same time, Rockstar gives us emotions and intrigue, leaving us with almost nothing. Think of every trailer for the latest Rockstar games. We get a minute-long video that shows absolutely nothing but the open world and maybe a few details, which are then analyzed for years in similar videos on YouTube. After that, we wait another year for the next 1-minute trailer without any information from Rockstar about the next game. It gets to the point where fans even have to commit crimes. The method of advertising campaigns, in which players themselves fuel their interest in the upcoming product, works so well that Rockstar needs only one tweet or picture with only a trailer announcement to collect hundreds of millions of views. This way, the audience does all the work of the PR campaign for Rockstar. What other game has hundreds of investigation videos been created, where players literally analyze when the next trailer will be released by the moon phase? What other game studio does so little, but so effectively? But of course, all the experimental approaches to game development, risky narratives and scenarios, genius advertising campaigns, none of this will work if you don't make a good game. Rockstar is no stranger to controversy, whether it's over the games they produce or their scandals over internal work practices. But that's what you get when you live on the edge. If you're not out there, you're not pushing the boundaries of creativity and business, and we can say with confidence that Rockstar has exactly done that.